Alright, and it is live. Come one, come all. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. You know what we do, what we don't, what we is, what we isn't. And what we is today is covering and having a discussion for chapter 1008 of One Piece. Welcome to New World Supernova. I am Jade. Today I have with me Daniel. Daniel, say hi.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Alright. So, this will be a quick one today because we've both got stuff on. But let's just jump to the beginning of the chapter, yeah, and we'll work our way down.
Yep.
Not going to jump straight to the big elephant in the room that was the end of the chapter, but not gonna pretend like we don't already know what it was. You know what I mean? And I got a fair bit of points and things I want to touch on with that review with Kaido anyway. All right.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, the Odin that got set up this chapter ended up being like, pretty quickly resolved, and that being Kanjuro and not actually anything with Odin. So that was, sort of dealt with as soon as it was set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Interest.
was pretty interesting. I honestly thought it was going to take a long time. I thought maybe like it was going to happen in a future chapter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just very immediately like, yep, this is what's going on. Done.
Um.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, the drawing is strong enough to actually fight with the scabbards pretty equally.
Yeah, that is true.
So
Then again, like, I mean, they are injured, and that drawing is like full health, quote unquote.
yeah.
And they did fight the scabbards previously, and like Kanjuro at least, like, obviously he got completely defeated, but he at least like thought he could hold them off for a reasonable amount of time. Like he thought potentially even that he could win, maybe in the past when he fought all the scabbards at once. So yeah, those drawings do seem like decent, but they're not the level of a full health scabbard, but they're seemingly the level of a weakened one.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, that being said, arguably, Shudamaru is the strongest scabbard anyway. So even a weakened him is sort of on par with what the others sort of are normally repping in terms of their repertoire anyway. So a lot of
That is true.
there's a lot of potential interest, at least just there with that alone, right?
Mm.
But
Something else that could be interesting is if maybe when he makes a clone of a certain person, that clone will have at least his level of understanding of that person's sword techniques. So maybe this Odin is going to actually have Odin's sword techniques, just the other guy's like interpretation of them. So there won't be a perfect complete form, but they will be like superior to maybe the other scabbards.
True, true. I mean, the interesting thing with that as well is, in the latest episode of the anime, there was a bit more of a drawn out fight, and when the Roger Pirates and the Whitebeard Pirates fought, on that
Hmm.
island, Odin was fighting against Scopa for a prolonged period for the couple of days that they were fighting, which is interesting as well. So it
Yeah, that is true.
there's a bit more pseudo power scaling that's being thrown around at the moment with Odin. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
that being said, I absolutely love how Denjiro's been sort of like chill this whole altercation, really, except for like when they sort of lunged at Kaido. But now that he's seen that Odin's being like someone's toying with Odin, his face just goes back to being pissed, and I just love his design. Like he looks like
Mm.
he's ready to just go ham. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely a fan of that. Um, Pretty messed up though. Ashura Doji gets stabbed seemingly like straight through the heart. Like I don't ever want to say a character's dead in One Piece, but dude gets stabbed straight in the Whitebeard's sweet spot. Immediately goes down, is bleeding out, can't move, and then he doesn't even defeat the guy later. Nekomamushi throws him at the fake Odin before Odin blows up, and then you see a charred body after. You know what I mean? Like, part of me is like, oh, Oda wouldn't just do that to
Yeah,
someone, and it didn't feel that emotional. But at the same point in time, it's not like he was strong enough to actually get up and do it himself. He got thrown into that situation, right? And it's sort of the
did he get thrown?
yeah. If you go to so you got Denjiro clashing with the fake Odin, right? And then if you look under
Yeah.
that on the next panel where Shudamaru's tackled Odin, you can actually see that Nekomamushi threw him. So he like bowled him into him. You know what I mean?
I mean, possibly, but it could have just been him jumping off the floor.
Uh, Potentially.
Because it seems like if he's got so it seems like him jumping at him there is basically, I'm gonna take this explosion and die and save all of you guys. So if Nekomushi threw him, to me, that's like, I'm gonna throw you because you're gonna die anyway. I'm just gonna let you die
See,
for us,
the
which seems a
way
bit more
the
brutal.
way I sort of saw it was you could like they're clashing and blocking. Nekomamushi in that panel where they're clashing is sort of looking down and like looks like he's almost leaning down to his right. You see Shuten Maru huffing and sort of staring off to the side, and then it looks like Nekomamushi like it was an unspoken like I'll throw you, you take him out, bowls him into him, and then dives out the window and that, not expecting or not expecting to get blown up, if that makes sense. Because he gets stabbed in the back by the fake Odin, so he gets locked in there. So it's like he almost could have tackled him and threw him away if he didn't get stabbed in there, depending on how you were perceiving or what you were perceiving him wanting to do
Yeah.
in the situation. It's
I
that's
could see
how I
that
read it.
interpretation. I just don't think it's illustrated that well.
It'll be more obviously it'll be more fluid as like the next chapter comes out if they mention it or if we get it in the anime in a year's time or whatever, seeing if he actually threw him.
Yeah.
But to me, that's what that sort of explosion looks like, and see how you can see like Nekomamushi sort of from panel to panel, he's sort of got motion going on him, as if he's just thrown him.
Yeah. But see, to me, that's like they see him light that cracker. Like they all saw him light
Yeah,
that. And then Nekomushi goes, "Well, you know what? You're gonna die anyway, so I'm just gonna throw you at him, and you
I
can take
mean,
the blow for us."
if the dude
It
just
seems
got
pretty
stabbed,
brutal.
if the dude just got stabbed in the heart though, and they're all
I mean, it's
warriors,
true, yeah.
like if he's like you're gonna die, I know you're a warrior. Go out like a hero. I'll throw you. You know what I mean? Look, we might be reading too much into
Yeah.
it. We might not be reading enough into it.
Yeah, I don't think it matters too much. It's just
No,
whatever happened, he dove bomb him, took him out the window, and it
I
blew up.
I have a few standout
But then here's the
panels.
question:
Ooh, yep,
is
go.
he dead?
See, that's what I don't know. Right? We see a charred body. I want to say nah, he's not dead. He'll get back up, but I don't want to get caught in people because people always pick the worst hill to die on for saying, "Oh, he's not dead. He's alive." You know what I mean? Like people could not let Monet die. People couldn't
Mm-hmm.
let Virgo die. People couldn't let Pedro die. You know what I mean? There's
Mm-hmm.
characters that are significant but minor enough that Oda's like their story's complete here. They don't need to do anything else in the story, right? There's no
Yeah.
narrative. Like they've completed their narrative circle for what he envisioned of them, right?
Yeah.
You could see maybe the scabbards being a more important role, but it might even be interesting if the and I'll touch more on it later because I got a few theories and I'll make a separate video for it. But the tragedy of this arc might be as we're getting closer to the climax, the scabbards start getting taken out by multiple people because later on in this chapter we have Inarashi go up against Jack, right? Both of them are
Yeah.
injured. Both of them don't have their what they had set up to easily take out each other in their first altercation. But Jack has always been essentially twice as strong as them anyway in terms of endurance.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like saying that you can 1v1 him now is like saying you at 50% is Jack at 25%. You know what I mean? Like it like if you couldn't defeat the dude, tagging out with someone as equally strong
Yeah.
as you,
True.
right? You're not both at the same strength because you're both
Yeah.
injured. He's got to be significantly more injured for it to still be that even fight.
Yeah, it does seem like he's basically sacrificing himself here. Like, and the idea that like everyone else is just kind of running away. Like, I would, if I was like Neko, for example, I would be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna chill with you, and we're
Yeah,
gonna take him out
yeah.
together. Yeah,
And see,
it does seem a bit weird.
that's
And that's the thing as well. Like in my head, I'm like trying to convince myself that Dogstorm could fight him, but at the same time, even throwing Neko on top of Dogstorm, I'm still thinking, could he, like, are they going to win?
mm.
So obviously Dogstorm can't win that. Like, I don't think he can.
Well, yeah, like I said, what I reckon's gonna happen is we might have all the scabbards start having fake out deaths, right?
Yeah.
And then the tragedy will seem like they've all been beaten, and a few other things that I'll touch on later on might sort of domino effect to make it seem like oh my god we have lost. and then everyone gets back up at the end of the
Yeah.
arc and celebration, and it's like, oh yeah, well, all I needed was some milk and a nap. Typical One
Here's the
Piece.
thing, like to me, if you think about it, like looking at it from Luffy's perspective, he went up on the roof, he saw all of them up there defeated, and he goes, "I'm gonna take over this fight to basically save your lives," right?
Yeah,
Law teleported them away, and he's like, "Okay, you guys are gonna live. I'm gonna fight these guys." Luffy is gonna basically give an arm and a leg to take out two Yonko up on this roof, and then at the end of this whole battle, he's gonna come down and like a few of the scabbards that he was fighting to save have just died.
yeah,
And he's going to look at his crew members and just be like, "What were you doing down here? Like, I had two Yonko up on the roof. What were you guys doing? Like, how could you not save the scabbards?" And obviously, like, they're fighting a lot of dudes, but like from Luffy's perspective, like fighting two Yonko, it's like if I got down from the roof and I saw that like half the allies that I wanted to save are dead and my crew members are like, "I've only just won that fight." I'm like, bro, you should have done better. Like,
yeah. No, honestly, and I mean, like, the Beast Pirates haven't even shown being like really good. It's just when it needs to count, they've counted in good ways.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like
definitely.
in like a really weird sense of it. You know what I mean? Because like, look, and like I said before, and I'll just mention it here quickly because I'll dart down a bit. There's a few panels that stand out to me. One is Denjiro's face. Number two is Okiku's face in this panel here,
Hmm.
where she's looking down at Shutenmaru's corpse, and she looks like sad, angry, disgusted, all in one. You know what I mean? Like she looks like she's seeing a mangled body of like a beloved friend, and she's just like on the verge of losing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas everyone else
Like
is
she's lost
immediately on
her arm.
Angie.
She's yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, she's missing an arm, right? One of her closest friends has just been killed by someone pretending, like one of her other best friends, who's pretending to puppeteer her like father figure.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty jacked up in some ways. And then we
And
swap.
like as far as she's aware, like you can imagine she's got some pretty serious doubts about whether or not Luffy and that are going to be able to take out Kaido.
Oh,
Like
100%.
she's probably hopeful, but like she just got wrecked by them. Yeah.
And I mean, then we cut to Kanjuro, who's talking about like he's got a mortal wound and that, and he's running off. I couldn't tell. Does he only have one leg? Does he only have his left leg now?
Ah, right.
Is he like,
Because it does kind of look like he's hopping. Hey.
yeah, yeah? Which I mean, like we didn't see. I don't know if we saw his legs when we saw his body up on the roof, or if we did see his legs, but he was just like on the ground. But we don't know what the move was that finished him off. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting if he's
Yeah,
lost his
true.
leg. He's using his paintbrush as a cane, and he's just hopping and running through the place to try and take out Momo, like just going for a mad dash just to end it all.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's interesting. And then, big shocker, Jack finally shows up, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, like honestly, he still seems pretty clean to go. Like, he's broke a tusk, yeah, so what? He's got some bandages on
Mm.
his trunk and head, but he still seems pretty clean.
I think he looks like he's going to be quite a bit slower. Like he looks like moving's going to hurt a bit, so
Mm.
he's going to be a bit more
I
clunky.
mean,
But
he did
like physical
say
force, I think he's probably still got the same
he
level.
did say the normal minks like hurt him a bit, like
Yeah.
that they slowed him down a bit more than they would have when they were at Zoe. So he is definitely like a little bit
Mm.
weaker.
Well, actually, something that I wanted to mention was he said, did he say like they tried to slow him down? I thought that was kind of funny because I've actually got the idea of him literally just mammoth running through them, and they're just like getting bowling pinned over.
Oh, what the exact
Saying,
words? Those pests
yeah,
tried to stall me to protect their dukes. You two keep going.
yeah.
You'll take me on alone, Lord of the Day. See, I must have read that wrong. Oh yeah, so that
Like
was more
obviously,
bothersome than
obviously that,
expected.
that could just be him saying. I mean, that could just like they could have actually stalled him, but he still got there on time. If you get what I mean. So they could have stopped him.
Yeah,
But just to me, like the imagery it puts in my mind is him just like running through them, and they're just not even stopping at all.
yeah, no, I get that. Um,
Yeah.
Look, I'ma just say this, right? Jack's looking a lot cleaner than you'd think, and he's still towering over. Like he's still intimidating here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely. Yeah,
And
he
so
definitely is like an absolute beast. Like, and that's the thing is, I want to see Queen and King just step up. Like, oh my god,
mm,
I want because I think the thing is that like Queen's strength comes from the poisons and the equipment and the mechanics. He's like tricky, whereas King I think is going to be hopefully more of like a genuine good fighter. And then you're gonna have Jack is basically just the big brute. Like
yeah.
Jack is just going to be the big mammoth who just runs at things. And right now Jack has had the best showing because that's kind of all he can do is just be big and
Well,
run at things, and
honestly,
he's done that perfectly. Whereas Queen's just keeps getting countered with all of these things, and King has just hasn't had a showing yet.
if
Really, like
I
I honestly, in my head, King has not showed anything
if
yet.
we were
Like I'm
doing
still waiting.
if we were doing a One Piece pirate crew draft, right? Every
Yeah.
Yonko coup, I want the right hand man. You know, I need Marco, right? I need Ben Beckman. I need
Yeah.
Katakuri. You get to the Beast Pirates, and I'm like, I'll take Jack. Nah, I don't want anyone else. Give me Jack. He's the only consistent person in that entire crew, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's definitely
I,
true.
I I've been seeing memes all week and that, and they were golden. It's like, Doflamingo's finger pistol, how we can do the little string bullets.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, Kaido's like, ah, that poor Doflamingo, he was just far too weak. And then it just cuts over to him just shooting King's sword out of his hand, just like, oh, you can't deal with bullets, can ya? Ratatatata. You know what I mean? It's like, honestly, Jack is like, I can understand the love behind him because I mean Queen's dead set useless, and King just
He
has not
is,
been
yeah.
impressive so far. Like, and I hope we
He,
get something more of King. I want him to have that same aura about him that the other first mates do. But you got to remember as well, Jack's 28. Like
yeah, true.
he's a young blood here, and he's going
He's young.
ham. You know what I mean? He's got that young energy, and he's just like, I'll fight you, I'll fight you, I'll fight you. Bring it all on. We're doing everybody. All right, you broke my trunk off. I don't care. My sword, man. I don't care. I'm a big boy. All right, I'll hit you with my big boy trunk. He's ready for it, and I'm honestly, it's been so impressive. And this leads me to my favorite line of this entire chapter. There's no moonlight in here. Funny, I was just thinking there's no poisonous gas either. Because that is a good point. Like, we've seen Queen using
Yeah.
chemical weapons, but we haven't seen any gas, right? We haven't had any of the normal biochemical
Yeah.
weapons that we've seen the Beast Pirates use that they got from Caesar Clown, which has been a massive hanging plot thread, right? I'm
Yeah.
gonna jump down to the next page, skipping a little bit of dialogue here, because I think that because all this is actually on one page, you have a look. The page starts with Jack and Inuarashi, sorry, and then it ends with the Orochi reveal, right?
Yeah.
Orochi's.
Yeah.
Oh, what's happening here? Error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth stash. Give me 2 seconds.
Oh.
Just starting to lose a bit of stream strength. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. All good.
Alrighty. Fixed it. Had one too many
God.
things on the Wi-Fi. All I had to do was close some stuff off. Yeah, okay. For anyone that didn't know where I was up to or what I was actually talking about there, right? And this is the very important thing, right? So all this is one page. The importance of this all being one page is because as a mangaka, you got to have everything condensed, obviously, to make stuff. So there's nothing in a chapter, especially when you're doing something as big as Oda and as consistent as Oda. There's nothing that goes into a page that doesn't have meaning, right? That isn't conveying either tone, message, or an important plot point, even if you don't realize it, yeah? There's
Mm-hmm.
no poisonous gas either, right? But we know they've got poisonous gas. Then we cut to Orochi. Roast to death. There's no escape up in here. Up in the sky. Now go to hell. I'll make him pay. I'm going to slaughter everyone. Okay? We know Orochi is useless as a combatant, right? So he sort of has to take out Kaido and all the beast pirates, right? He's got to do
Yep.
something. And he's got to do something while up in the sky, right? You would assume that the poisonous gas weapons are stored somewhere in Onigashima. And that they just haven't used them because even though Queen can, like, put out the mummy plague and, like, the ice-only stuff, right? Actually gassing the whole island, it would be more of an inconvenience for them after they win the fight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think Orochi is going to do one of two things here. He's either going to go and try to blow up Onigashima with the poisonous gas that they've got somewhere, and that's why the beginning of this page was like reintroducing the thematical idea. We have gas weapons, we have biochemical weapons. Think of this, because the next thing I'm going to say is this weak character that hasn't been able to do anything on his own the entire story is saying that he's going to take out the strongest people. How's he going to do that? Well, he needs to have something or someone to do that, right? The chemical weapons would be the best thing for him in this situation to just take out everyone up here, since everyone on this island at this stage on this section of the island is his enemy. You know what I mean? He can easily overpower the civilians.
I thought he was just talking about the fire. I thought he was just like setting things on fire, and he was just saying roast to death, because he's just basically setting the entire palace on fire. And he's just like, I don't give a crap anymore.
See,
I'm just going to burn everything down.
I saw them.
And then potentially he's just going to use his devil fruit now, and we're actually going to see him in a couple chapters.
I saw it as like two separate things, right? I know he's starting the fire in that as he's running around. He's wreaking a bit of havoc, but I thought he's doing this on his way to sort of whatever his plan will be going forward, right? And like I said, plan A to me, chemical weapons, use them against them, right? Plan B, snitch. Go to CP0 or bypass CP0 and try and get in touch directly with the world government and say, I will hand you Wano on a silver platter if you take out these people for me.
Yeah.
Because that's his entire character. He either does the underhanded secret tactic, right? Like in the flashback, how he took out Sukiyaki, right? And dealt with Odin in the past. He wasn't beyond using weapons and things like that and using manipulation. So the poison, to me, is a big possibility. On the other hand, you got CP0 present that were allies with him already. You know what I mean? And so I think it's going to be an interception game where he's going to be going to do either the allegiance thing, and if he allies with someone, I feel like we get third-partied. If he's going for the poisonous weapon route, he's going to get intercepted. And when he gets intercepted, I think it's actually Orochi needs to be dealt with by the Kozuki. Okay? Kanjuro can be dealt with by the Scabbards. That can be an internal matter that's settled, right? Between retainers.
Mm-hmm.
Orochi, the individual, his story resolution is inherently tied with the Kozuki, and inherently a Kozuki needs to put an end to their family feud, right? That could be Momo, and you could have a mini dragon versus a Yamato no Orochi. That would be sort of interesting, right? If it's a matter of trying to deal with him before he can, destroy the place. Or I could very well see that the shadowy figure we saw trying to heal up the Scabbards, the other chapter, right, wasn't Odin, but Odin did show up after as that fake out with Kanjuro, right? Because if all the Scabbards were already down, why didn't Kanjuro just kill them?
Yeah, that's true. You would imply that there has to be two different people there.
Yeah, so it's an easy fake out to make people not like, people are like, oh, well, we know the answer to that now, but you don't know the answer. The figure we saw was feminine, right? Arguably.
Yeah.
I reckon Hiyori's here, And Hiyori's plot point throughout the whole story has been like inherently hired as, you know, the beautiful geisha of the land of Wano with Orochi, right? And she stated she wants to be the person to take the last bit of life out of his eyes. So to me, Hiyori has
Right.
also managed to make it here, right? She's
Yep.
trying to get the last blood on Orochi, and so I'm not sure how it would happen or what would happen or who would, because I feel like someone's going to deal with Orochi up until his last life, very similar to like a Hawking situation, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
on his last legs, Hiyori will finish him. She'll clean him off. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah. Okay.
I could see Zoro getting knocked off the roof temporarily, right? Dealing
Mm-hmm.
with Orochi partially, because Zoro's even stated he wants to personally take out Orochi, and technically it's a family revenge plot for Zoro. Zoro being a Shimatsuki from distant past without realizing it, right? And him technically being somewhat of a nephew to Yasui. Would be very interesting if he gets revenge on Yasui's killer, but then gives the final kill to essentially his other cousins in the Kozuki. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I
Before
get.
going back up the roof, you know, because the next big thing that we've got to talk about here is pretty much going on with the roof and how they're talking about trying to split up the two Yonko and they're trying to deal with that whole situation. You know what I mean? And how with that whole situation, there's 5 of them, right? So they need to have that sort of even combatant standpoint. So it's either going to be Luffy and Kid, the two main captains, versus Kaido, or Luffy, Kid, Law versus Kaido, and you're going to have the swordsman versus Big Mom, or you might have people sort of getting knocked down, coming back up, and it's like a back and forth. You know what I mean? You split them up, you knock one out the way, they come back, you get knocked back out the way, and it's like a back and forth. You know what I mean? Like a good old fashioned tug of war. Also,
Yeah. True. It's possible.
interestingly enough, we have Momo here, and he's talking about controlling his ability, but more specifically, he can actually sense and tell what's happening on the rooftop. So, I feel like for the longest, in Viva cards and SBSs, I think, it was confirmed that the voice of all things is an observation haki technique, right? It's sort of like,
Yeah.
you could almost see it as the other, like the opposing branch for future sight. You know what I mean? Just the inherent ability to understand. Momo is able to understand what's happening on the roof and that they're alive and how well
Yeah.
they're going. That could play some very important
Yeah.
roles.
He at least has a Well, so he at least has a connection to Luffy, right?
Yes.
Because he wasn't commenting on the entire combat or anything like that, and he wasn't commenting on anyone other than Luffy. He was specifically talking about like how Luffy is feeling. So it seems like he can almost hear Luffy's quote unquote voice, or as in like he can kind of sense the condition of him. He
Mm.
can sense like his thoughts and his feelings, but specifically, seemingly just him. Maybe he's only trying to sense him, or maybe it's because he needs to have a connection with the person in order to feel them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um.
seemingly that's it.
Alternatively, as
What,
well.
what one thing that we might see actually next chapter is if one of the scabbards actually is confirmed to die, it'll be interesting to see if Momo can feel that because he would also have the quote unquote connection with all the scabbards, so he would know if any of them are about to die. Obviously, he knows that all of them are injured, but that's kind of to be expected.
That would actually be pretty impactful. That would
Mm.
actually be very impactful if we start getting confirmation of deaths, and so Momo takes the role of the little girl from Skypiea, Kaiser, Kaya, something like that. I can't remember her name off the top of my
Yeah,
head,
her,
not
yeah.
specifically, but like
No,
where we get a
yeah.
step by step countdown of who's left, which would be very interesting indeed. Um,
Yeah, that would be cool.
all right, so we cut back to the rooftop, right? Rooftop, Luffy's been trying to fight, not in Gear 4. We know he was out of Haki, so we don't know if he's got his Haki back yet or not, or if he's still just trying to charge him
Yeah.
without it. He's getting dealt with pretty easily. Kid has the best looking right arm right now. A harpoon arm. Like a harpoon Gatling arm. That looks sick. Like
Yeah,
I
that does look
actually
pretty cool.
I actually love that design so damn much because I can just imagine
Yeah,
him like coming in for like this, like a right hook, and if it misses, just firing off like a harpoon and that to just close that distance. And it'd be even
yeah,
better if
yeah,
they are connected by chains, so he can pull himself forward to whatever he harpoons.
yeah.
It'd be pretty cool. It reminds me of Crocus, the only other harpoon fighter we know in One Piece. You know what I mean? It's like not very often you see someone fighting with a harpoon, so it's cool. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Um, that
mhm.
said, Luffy gets flung normally, smacks into the wall, and he just gives out a huge exhale of air. Now, I saw some people mentioning that maybe he was in Gear 4 and just got knocked out of Gear 4 a second time. I don't think he is. I don't think he's gone back into Gear 4 yet for this fight.
Wait, wait, caution, caution. Where's he getting flung?
I think I think he was in front of Kaido and got knocked back. I reckon Kaido like club swung him back. Not like a Thunder Bagua, but just like
Okay,
a
okay, so that's him flying back into the wall there after he's been hit previously.
yeah. So it cuts to the
Okay.
roof. You can see some lightning clashing. So he's come in, tried to hit something, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's flying back screaming and goes flying past Kid and Zoro. Gets flung into the wall, exhales, catches himself on his feet, and then dives back in again, and then gets flung back again. So it's like it's been
Yeah,
happening a couple
that's
times
true.
now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing is that he's literally running in with like non-gear 4 from the looks of it.
Mm,
It looks like he's just jumping in his normal
yeah,
form and he's just going to be constantly fighting them. He's basically training until he gets his gear 4 back up and then he's going to use it again and then fight and do some damage. And yeah, it seems like he's literally just a glutton for punishment and they just can't put him down.
yeah.
This, by the way, this I was thinking about this. Him going on about how he's been like going in and out of gear 4 and fighting them over and over again quite a few times. It's a hardcore mirror to Cracker fight to Katakuri fight to
Mm,
basically every fight that Luffy has put on a lot of growth. It seems like him going into gear 4, a lot of people kind of criticize gear 4 when it first came out because you can only stay in it for a certain amount of time, so it kind of feels like, and I thought this too, like it kind of feels like it's not his real power. It's like a really temporary power up. It's like
yeah.
you do like a buff and then you beat someone, but like if you didn't have the buff, you've got nothing. Um, and I kind of want it to be just his power,
S-
but it's really cool here because essentially what Gear 4 has done for him is it's given him like a way to completely exert your haki and then have to replenish it and then exert it again. Essentially, he's doing hit training,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like he's basically doing like coming from the PT perspective, he's going into what you would consider like high intensity interval training where you're doing a really hardcore burst of hard work and then you're resting and then you get your energy back and then you do it again. The idea behind it, like hit training in real life, is the number one way to get more fit and it's the number one way to lose weight in terms of like how to train. If you want to put on your if you want to increase your VO2 max, which is basically your level of fitness, then hit training is the most effective way to do it. And if you want to lose fat from doing some kind of cardio weight training, then the most effective way to do it is hit training. So like he's essentially giving himself hit training in the world of One Piece, and he's blasting his haki because what you essentially do with hit training is you completely exert all of your energy stores, and then your body has to replenish your energy stores back to full, and then you exert them all again. And what happens is you just grow like crazy.
Mm,
And so that's essentially what he's doing is he's putting out so much haki that he's completely depleting his body of haki, and then he's slowly regenerating that haki, and then and then he goes back into gear 4 and he's doing it again, and he's just constantly like recycling that system, which is just going to be ridiculous growth because not only is like your max level of haki is increasing, but also your level of haki recovery is increasing, et cetera. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how it's just a really cool training mechanism where he can train while he's fighting, and it's not just as simple as like I'm fighting you and I'm just magically somehow getting stronger. I feel like before like pre-time skip, it seemed like Luffy was constantly fighting stronger and stronger enemies, but there was never until he got Gear 2 and 3. Before that period, there was never really a time where he was like, I trained and got stronger. It was just like he's just constantly fighting stronger people. Like he beat Crocodile before he
Yeah,
technically got stronger. You know what I mean? All he really did was learn that he needs to use his own blood to punch Crocodile. But like theoretically, because we never saw him actually train and get stronger or learn a new ability, theoretically, first episode when he fought Alvida is the same strength as when he fought Crocodile.
yeah.
Like it probably isn't, but yeah, and it's cool here because you can actually see the growth. Like you can actually see the mechanism that he's using to develop his strength, which is
Oh,
really cool.
the growth is good. Another big thing, right?
Mm.
I've seen a lot of people. The whole One Piece community is seemingly super mixed on this Kaido hybrid design. I freaking love it, right? A lot of people are like meh or don't like it because it's very similar to deviant fan art that people have done for ages on Kaido. But I think this actually sort of is exactly what I thought it would be, and it's also stuff that I never realized I needed in it, right? So the biggest thing, and I think this is something that goes over a lot of people's heads because they haven't, like, the chapter's new, they haven't had the chance to think about it, right? Kaido is currently the world's strongest pirate by title, by bounty, right? He's technically then, with Whitebeard gone, the world's closest pirate to One Piece, right?
Yeah.
So he's the inheritor of rocks in this current thematical situation in the world, right? He's the new
Yeah.
king. His horns make a crown. This, and I just posted up in the Discord. If anyone wants to see what I'm posting, link to the Discord is in the description. You can join the Discord and come have a look at the general chat. I'm posting in there what the photo is. Kaido looks like Hellboy.
Yeah. That
Crowned
is
up
really cool.
Hellboy with the horns, right? And then the little horns making the crown in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the best thematical demon design to me, in my opinion,
That is
right?
true. Yeah, that
It's
does look really
making
cool.
him not just physically intimidating, but like we're dealing with the current king and queen of the pirating world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like these are the two individuals at the top at the moment. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
about people getting above them in the future. You're literally standing in front of the strongest female pirate and the strongest male pirate at this point in time,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is a throne race, right? It's the throne wars. We're in the throne wars, and I mean, like, take a moment, look at this still, dissect it, separate it, right? You have Kaido. He's scaled up all over his back, all over his chest and shoulders, right? So you know he's got the defense going. He's got 6 horns, right? I mean, I don't know how well people remember this, but I mean, in second form Frieza with his horns impaling Krillin with a headbutt, right? Could you
Mm.
imagine Kaido? Because, and I'm just saying, break this down, analyzing it a little bit, right? Deconstruct it. Kaido in dragon form was destructive and big but slow, realistically, right? It was more the abilities than it
Yeah.
was the movements. Kaido in human form, he was unquestionably, unrealistically, right? He surprised everyone with how quick he was. Speed blitzing a Gear 4 Luffy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hybrid Kaido.
One thing that I would have liked, I wanted him to have wings.
See,
I wanted him to have bladed wings.
I don't think he needs the wings though, because think of this, right? And this is what I'm getting. If you actually have a look at Kaido here and Big Mom here, there's 3 fires, 3 separate fires in this one panel. You have Prometheus, which is underneath Big Mom, right? Then you
Yeah.
have Napoleon's fire, which actually also entrails into Big Mom's fire cape. She's got a cloak of fire. You look there at under the hilt of Napoleon, you can actually see the fire is part of the cape, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not just imagining it. Like aesthetically,
Yeah.
Napoleon's fire is drooping off her back and onto her sword, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Prometheus is underneath her as a separate fire, and then you have a third fire around Kaido's back, and a fourth fire if you include the foreground. But I mean, like looking at them, right? Kaido has his own fire coming off his back, his own
Yeah.
flames coming off him, right? You
Like,
got to think.
I get that he can fly without the wings. The reason that I want him to have the wings is because the thing that's really cool about him in dragon form is that he has super sharp teeth. He's got six horns on his forehead. He's got claws on either hand. He's got claws probably on each of his feet, and he's got his tail. I wanted him to also have wings because the idea of him being like a hybrid dragon is that everything on him can be used as a weapon. And so, like when you're fighting him, you don't just have to block the club. You have to block his tail that's stabbing you. If he gets his face near you, he can either bite you or stab you with his like with a headbutt, basically. And he's got his other hand, which is clawed, and then he's got his two wings that can slash at you as well. That was like
I
the idea behind why I wanted him to have wings, is because it just makes him so much more difficult to handle,
I think
to like block and
I
defend
think it's
against.
going to be just as effective without it, realistically, because you got to think of it, right? Look at him there. He's got the claws on his hands. He's got the fangs. He's got the horns. He's got the armor defense. He's got the tail. Arguably, he could still use the tail very versatilely,
Yeah,
right?
he probably would use the tail.
He
Yeah,
should, especially with the way his legs are designed, he should have a speed increase here, like Rob Lucci did, based off the leg design, right?
yeah,
And in human form, he's already faster than Gear 4. In hybrid form, with a speed boost, he should be even faster again, right? So he should be formidable enough for someone with future sight, right? You got to think of this. The dude, based on how his flames work and how they fly, he should
yeah,
actually just be able to automatically Geppo. Like, he just walks on air, right?
yeah. I mean, I imagine he can just kind of like hover and fly around with the fire, like the fire, because the fire is literally lifting up Onigashima, right?
Mm. Well,
So
I,
theoretically, like if he's covered in his own fire, he can just use it to fly himself around,
I'm
similar to
imagining,
how like Kid can fly himself around with his metal.
I'm imagining right now, right, that Kaido is going to charge like a raging bull, right? Luffy's gonna maybe go into Gear 4 again, get up in the air, and Kaido's going to run up the air towards him. Luffy's not going to be expecting that, going, oh shit, he can skywalk. Wait, no, it's not the same as skywalking. He's not using any stamina or any skill to do it. It's just literally his devil fruit letting him, right? Comes in with a super speed Thunder Bagua, right? If that misses,
Yeah.
he can just Geppo forward essentially, stab him with his horns, claw him with his other hand, grab him with his tail, and then that's not even including, right? And you just bring everyone's attention back to this, right? This fight right here is supposed to be the climax of the entire New World Saga, right? Post time skip,
Yeah.
this is the climax, right? Before we enter the climax for the entire series. Rob Lucci pre-time skip, one of the best and coolest things he did was wrap his tail around Luffy and then do his Rikogu gun, right? Could you imagine Luffy getting caught by Kaido's tail here? And because it's
Yeah.
scaled, it's stronger, so it's not like he can just slip out or break out of it, right? And
Yeah.
then Kaido does a borrow breath point blank into his face. Right?
It is actually pretty interesting. This fight could very well mirror. Um, it could very well mirror the fight against Lucci.
Yeah.
Like he is essentially like in this hybrid form here. He's essentially just like an upgraded version
Oh, yeah.
of Lucci, right?
And
Like he's just big beastly animal, and they're just gonna slugfest to death, basically.
yeah.
But it would be pretty interesting if like so. Here's the thing, Luffy unlocked Gear 2 and 3 in
And his lobby.
Annie's lobby. Is Gear 5 coming? Is this arc going to mirror it, where he gets a new gear and then fights, or is he still going to be using Gear 4?
Look, do you know what I want to see?
Mm.
Right? You've got the king and queen of the new world, right? We all are waiting for that scene fresh out of Stampede where they unleash their conqueror's haki and it's like a tsunami of energy. And then you've got all the supernovas here, or at least Luffy and Kid, having to block with their conquerors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how good would that be for like the flag drop to start this race to the end of the fight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then,
Yeah.
like, realistically, Big Mum, top 5 swordsman in the series. She's got top 5 swordsman feats on her side right now, depicted, right?
Hmm.
So her versing Killer and Zoro in a sword fight, even if she just goes, oh, I'm going to rely on my sword, and then just mix up between Prometheus or Zeus being on the sword for attacks, right? That right
Yeah.
there, an extreme high diff fight for Zoro and Killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's even if Law doesn't help them out or Law doesn't play support on everyone here in this situation. Kaido,
Yeah.
Luffy and Kid, they're going to be charging for Kaido hard. And the interesting thing is, right? We haven't. Kaido's hide's supposed to be what's super strong, right? We haven't seen Kid try to attack the Scar. Could he?
True.
Could he? Like, are we going back to the classical dragon? His main weakness for anyone that can't just get through the scales is the Scar. That hasn't been sort of even thought of yet by main characters.
I mean, like it's possible that maybe the harpoons can now do something, but like it seemed like everyone else was directly attacking the Scar. Like Killer and that were like trying, and Zoro and that. And Kid just didn't. Like Kid
Yeah.
just resorted to crushing.
I mean, hey, it's not a bad idea, you know. Crush the lizard out of his scales. It is what it is. But I mean, like, look.
Yeah.
Take a moment here. Kaido is looking beastly. Kaido is looking savage, right? Big Mum is looking crazed as always. This is actually going to be a sick fight. But on the last panel, we see Kaido's face and he's scuffed up. He's got some bruises. Like,
Yeah. The thing is that it genuinely seems like right now Luffy is just jumping in at Kaido over and over again. Like if you look at Big Mom, right? There's a reason that she's covered in so much fire. It's because lightning doesn't work against Luffy,
yeah,
right? Big Mom is literally just drowned herself in fire so Luffy can't get near her. Luffy is seemingly just going to be fighting Kaido here, like just it seems like he's just going to jump at him, fight him for a bit, get smacked away with the mace, and jump back in. And that's what's been happening. And then potentially the other ones have just been holding off Big Mom, or maybe Big Mom's just been watching because she's finding it fun.
maybe.
But like, yeah, it doesn't seem like Luffy's like 1v2ing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm. But we get to the whole conversation of we need to split them up. I agree. Yeah, facing those two together. So the Alliance's plan here is to try and split these people up. Who do you think? Where do you think the split goes? Who goes with who? Who does what?
Um. No, I think Zoro's gonna stick with Luffy against Kaido. And then I think probably the other three are gonna have to go against Big Mom.
Ooh, that would be a good
I
fight.
can't
It'd be
see.
interesting.
I know that Kid would want to fight Kaido, but I don't see Luffy being like, "Oh yeah, let's go against Big Mom." I think. Sorry, yeah, Zoro. I don't think Zoro is going to be
See,
like, "Let's go." I think Zoro is going to stick with Luffy because it's seemingly he's just been kind of babysitting Luffy the whole time, while Luffy's been in and out, in and out, in and out. He's been like, "You good, buddy? All right, get back in there."
well, I mean, it's hard because Luffy and Kid's personalities don't seem like the type of people to go to the backseat. So I feel like they're like, I'm taking on Kaido. I'm not taking any other. I'm not taking any other credible threat. I want that person. Zoro
Yeah.
seems like he'd be reasonable enough to swap it up, but there's that arrogance in him where it's like, nah, I'm cutting Kaido. Like, nah, you're not getting away. I'm taking a stab.
Yeah.
So it's like those
I
three
think
people.
honestly, I think Law's going to sit back and just help, and it's going to be like the typical like Kid Pirates versus Big Mom, and then Straw Hat Pirates versus.
Do you know what? Big Mum played support so well a couple chapters ago. What might happen is it's Kaido versus Kid, Luffy, Zoro, Killer, with Law and Big Mum playing support on either side.
That's true, yeah. Although that wouldn't really be splitting them up.
No, it wouldn't. But it it might like. I mean, hey, they're talking about splitting them up, but do they have the ability to split them up? You know what I mean? Like, do you actually have the ability to control these two individuals in any capacity? Especially when you're the aggressor against them? You know what I mean?
Actually, wait, you know what I just realized? Sorry. Um, Luffy's basically in this bottom page. He's been smacked back into the wall, and then Killer looks at him and just goes, "I can't believe you even think they're still
Still human.
human.
Yeah.
Why do you think you can still keep fighting them?" And then Luffy gets out of the wall, like out of the rubble. He's like,
Losing.
"Well, losing attitude isn't going to help." So
Yeah.
basically, what's happening is they're just not even like putting it. Like, they're like slowly wearing them down, as Luffy says later. But like, they're not really doing much to them, and they're just getting battered back over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah.
And then Zoro turns to him and goes, "You should help us come up with with a plan then." Um, so like it seems like all of them except for Luffy are standing there thinking, "Oh, we can't hurt them. How do we beat
And
them? They're
Luffy's
too
just
stronger
like,
than us."
give me
And
it. Give it.
Luffy's just like, "We're just gonna have to punch him until
Yeah.
until they go down."
Oda, well, Luffy can't just beat Kaido by just having a stronger punch. Luffy, yeah, I can. You can't tell me no.
Again.
I
Gonna
did it to
keep
everyone
punching.
else.
I want to have a stronger punch. I'll just punch more.
Volume and quantity. I mean, look. Hybrid Kaido, man. He's got me hyped. He's got me so damn hyped. Because this is going to be the make or break it for me for Wano. If Kaido isn't nerfed significantly here, and actually is like, I want to, like, say in the next 5 chapters, right? Just before Act 3 ends. If every individual member here lands a hit on Kaido, and it's hurt him. Like, we know Luffy hit him with the Red Rock. We know Killer got him with that sound attack, right? We know Law got him with the Gamma Knife. If we get Kid and Zoro land an attack on Kaido, and now he's in hybrid form, and he goes like he actually like has that realization where it's just like, wait, they can all hurt me. Ooh, I need to take this a little more seriously. You know, I might actually just put them down. You know what I mean? It would be insane. Because if Kaido doesn't get nerfed here, and he goes, it's flogging time, I'm gonna be like, I'm keen.
Yeah.
I'm keen to say the least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude's looking like an absolute weapon, and there's no break next week, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's really good actually.
Mm.
I mean, they did kind of like set it up as like, okay, the fight's gonna start now, so hopefully there'll be a break.
See, I don't know. I still don't know if the fight's going to start. I mean, honestly, I thought we would have lost by the end of Act 3, but Act 3 seems like it's getting close to being... I reckon Act 3...
I don't think they're losing.
Yeah, no, I don't anymore.
I've never really thought they were going to lose. I reckon this is just going to be Luffy fighting him and getting stronger the whole time until he gets strong enough. The same as Katakuri, and he's going to beat him, and everyone's going to say, "Oh, Luffy can't. He isn't actually as strong as Kaido. He only won because because Kaido let him win."
Okay. Imagine this, right? Luffy goes in Gear 4,
Yeah.
starts to try and Gatling Kaido. Kaido moves so fast, it's like Katakuri just walking through the Gatling. You know what I mean? He's just like paper body, just like dodging all the hits. You know what I mean? Wraps Luffy up in his tail. Goes to do a giant bloody Omega Blast. You know, he's doing his Borrow Breath. Luffy jumps out of Gear 4. Slides out the gap because he's obviously trying to hold like Gear 4. So he just falls out. Luffy whips his leg around Kaido. So he's like tied himself to Kaido. Just spins around and then comes in with a Rio rifle to the face. Just was like tethered him there and gets one hit in. That would be a cool scene. Cause like
that would be cool, yeah.
I'm definitely hyped. Is there anything? I know it's almost 2:00 now. So is there anything you want to talk about? Any predictions for next chapter?
I'm not really sure what's going to go on next chapter. I can't really predict much.
I think we see a little bit from Sanji, right? I think before Act 3 ends, we've got to see a bit more with Sanji and who he's going to match up with and where he's going. We're going to get the reveal of Hiyori. It'd be interesting if Sanji actually comes across Hiyori and Sanji's got to try and defend Hiyori for a little bit from Orochi. And like there might be a little gag there with Sanji's like, "I'll protect you," and she's calling out for Zoro.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think definitely we're gonna see Kanjuro making his way a bit closer. which I don't know how. I don't know how Yamato would go if she would be able to fight Kanjuro or not, because she still like she seemingly didn't know that he was the spy, so she seemingly still respects Kanjuro. So she might get duped, and it might just be that Momo's hiding in her shirt that he's a baddie. You know what I mean? Before someone else tags out with Yamato
Okay, yeah,
to
possible.
take on Kanjuro. I don't think we continue the fight against Kaido, or if we do, I think it's very similar to this, where it's like 2 moves, 3 moves, and then it ends with all right, let's get serious, or we do split them up successfully in some capacity. You know what I mean? There's some bait and switch tactic that
Yeah,
goes
okay.
on.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't really think of what will happen next chapter. I'm just trying to wrap my head around trying to understand Orochi's motives and Orochi's plan, if he's trying to just burn down the castle to take out everyone, because if they're in the air, if the whole castle's burning, the whole castle is like 99% of what's in the air, everyone will die anyway. Or if he's going for poison, or if he
That's
is
true.
looking for CP0. Because it'd be interesting if he gets to CP0 and he's like, please ally with that, and then CP0 kills him, and then he comes back to life
Yeah.
again, and like everywhere he's going and asking for help or asking for an alliance, they're killing him, and it's like one by one taking out his 8 lives. That'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
okay.
So it's like a gag for the rest of the arc that he, like, everywhere he goes is like, yeah, no, we'll team up, and then they just instantly backstab him, because that'd be some karma for him backstabbing everyone else.
I mean, what if he actually becomes like a reasonably significant person? Like, what if he wants to just get revenge on Kaido? What if he goes up to the roof and
Uh,
he's actually fighting with them?
Honestly, I don't know how it would go. It'd be interesting. I feel like if anyone would intercept him in that situation, I feel like King would intercept him or something for a moment. You know what I mean? Just be like,
Yeah.
you dare think you can go to the king, and Orochi will be like, don't you dare, get your hands off me. I am the Shogun. Rah, 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 rah. And then, like, honestly, like I said, I think he's going to get intercepted, right? Fugaro Juko's with him. 100% Raizo's fighting him. It's a ninja battle. So we still have a fair few people to set up matches for before this act ends, and then the conflict starts. Because I think we're going to stall out the rooftop and that, anything significant at least, until everyone's set up for like sort of their end of arc 1v1. And then act 3 will just be like a year of fighting. Like a little bit of,
Yeah.
important story notes, but it'll be a year of like, this is an interesting fight, back to back to back to back. Sort of like how Dressrosa got like that at one stage, you know what I mean? With the interesting stuff being like
Yeah, okay.
whatever happened in the intermission and that.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Yeah, it's possible.
Nothing else you wanted to touch on? You've got to get going, don't you?
Yeah, I gotta get going.
Alright.
Nothing really, no. It's a good chapter. I think it was a bit weaker, in my opinion, than just because all of the other chapters, like it was good for a normal chapter. But like all the chapters post 1,000, as
Oh,
we've been saying
they've
pretty much every week, have
they've
been
been 10
bonkers.
out of 10 almost. You know what I mean? They've been like,
Yeah.
it's been good storytelling. It's definitely at a good moment. And if
Yeah.
if we're still going uphill from here, I'll be damn well excited. Because I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Hawkins to come out of nowhere and do something. It'll be interesting if he comes up on the roof. Like, imagine if we're 5 people on the roof. If Hawkins shows up, and Hawkins allies with Kid and Killer, right? And so
Yeah.
you've got the original alliances of Luffy, Zoro, Law, Kid, Killer, Hawkins. You know what I mean? Versus a
Yeah, that
Yonko
would be
each
good.
side by side. And Hawkins, like, as he enters the battlefield, might do something to, like, snake a bit of life force from one of the Yonko as a bit of insurance or as a bit of shielding. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be
Like,
cool.
imagine if Hawkins got a life and the life was Big Mum's, but then Hawkins joins the fight against Kaido. So it's like, to beat me, you'll take out your ally, and Big Mum's like, don't you dare, and Kaido's like, shut up, I got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be funny.
Alright. Thank you for watching. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. It's really appreciated. You know all the good stuff to do. Like the video, hit the bell icon to get more notifications for when we're doing more streams or more videos like this. Hit subscribe. Alright, if you want to talk anything anime and manga related to either myself or Daniel, join the Discord. The link is in the description down below. Follow me on Twitter at New World Supernova or New World Supern 2. The actual proper spelling is in the description as well. Alright. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for enjoying. This was a damn good chapter. Peace and have a good one. Daniel, say bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.